Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Inside the Circle, then definitely come check us out. We definitely love to have you. And that community was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7 figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check us out. Now, today, I want to introduce you to another one of the members of our community, Nixie. Welcome, Nixie.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm quite looking forward to this.
Oh, yep, you're welcome. Great having you. So, Nixie, tell myself and the rest of the community, what is it that you do?
So I'm a motherhood mentor, but with a twist. So I help women in the matrescence period, which so many women don't know about. It's that shift from you go from woman to mother that nobody tells you that you're going to meet this whole new person and it's not your baby, it's you. And it's something that, especially in modern Western societies, women aren't supported for in any sort of shape. They're given this expectation that baby's just going to sort of tuck under the arm with the briefcase and it's just going to carry on exactly how it was before. And a lot of women struggle with their identity. Suddenly, women who were in a very masculine energy place are discovering a feminine energy or connecting with a feminine energy for the first time. And they're all a little bit like overwhelmed, struggling, in places of guilt because they love being a mum, but they're not feeling that great about motherhood. And I take them from this overwhelmed place to aligning themselves with their unique strength and ability as a mum, so that they can leave what doesn't serve them on the table and take what does, with all this overload of information that we're given and the gadgets and the what is and isn't gonna make things perfect, so that they can be the mum they want to be. They can live their life with purpose and passion and still be the woman and the mother, so that the motherhood, that transition from womanhood to motherhood, they can claim their identity in it. And I do it by harnessing crystal energies and harnessing the moon energy. So females' cycle follows the moon and the moon phases, and at different parts of the month women can understand how they're flowing and become more resilient to the overwhelm and the mum struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, awesome. So what got you started down this path? What's your backstory before you started doing this type of work?
yeah, so my backstory is that I always wanted to work with mums and babies, and it started as quite a young girl in the 80s, watching the massive famines in Africa. And I remember sitting there and thinking that the mums and the babies just didn't look almost as if they were alive. There was like a deadness in their eyes. And I just had this vision as a child that I was going to change that. I was going to make the world a better place for mums and babies, so that no mum and baby was ever going to be left behind. And then I had my first son, who's now 27, in my teens. And my plans to go as an au pair and travel around the world and work in all these different places in the charities with mums, and that kind of went out the window because he was starved of oxygen and he needed 24-hour care. He has quite complex needs. So I went into hospitality, which is where my family sort of business was. And it was kind of like something that was easy to go into and I could work around. And then in my early 40s, I fell pregnant with my toddler Tornado. And I was like, I'm not doing the 48 hours to 70 hours a week when I could be doing that for myself. So I retrained. I started with the baby massage, the baby yoga, the mother confidence. And then I've always done the crystal healing. I've had crystal healing diplomas and interests all the way through. And then I've just sort of combined the two, so that, because it really helps mums focus, and that holistic energy that comes from the crystals, that comes from the Mother Earth, really does boost women's energy. I mean, you think, who doesn't like something pretty on the side, even without actually understanding where the energy comes from? So that's kind of where I came from. I took my passions and decided, actually, you know what? It's time to bring that to the world, because it's always been there. Life took over, and now it's time for me to share my message and help, and just do what I've always meant to have done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. So, what about in terms of your business? Is it do you work with your clients in person? Is it 100% virtual? What does that look like?
So I'm now 100% virtual, and so I started with small nurture groups. I have a big plan for that, so I might tell you that in a bit. But I decided actually at Christmas, before this pandemic had hit big time and we understood the implications, that actually, do you know what, I'm going to take this online, because I can reach more people and I can actually do a better job at reaching the mums that needed it, because it's not so much the mums in the small communities who just need another mum group, but it's the high achieving mums who've, until they've become mothers, have possibly never even come up against the imposter syndrome, or have always been more in their masculine energy than their feminine energy, because of the doing and the day-to-day triggers that get you up that success ladder before you, just how our society is. And it's weird, because I'm very careful with what news and what information I watch, just because I find it really overwhelming, and I wasn't really aware of what was happening in the world on a massive scale. I was aware that it was there. So yeah, my timing was quite spot on to take it online. And I do one-to-one coaching. I do workshops. So the workshops are sort of more accessible and stepping stones for women who have an interest or a curiosity, but aren't really ready to fully step into something that's maybe outside of their comfort zone. And I also do a mentorship program, the Mum program, which is a 12-week program that sort of gives the mums that 3-month cycle to be able to then take it on, and give them that foundation to be themselves and to be uniquely who they are as mothers. So yeah, it's really taken off now. So it was up until sort of like March time, it was like a real baby business, but now I'm taking those much bigger steps, and it's just really exciting to be able to help mums that maybe actually, and reach the mums that probably wouldn't have actually thought they needed something like this, but the online space gives me that opportunity to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And where someone typically at on their journey when they would come to the realization that they might need your services?
So it's that matrix sense. It's when they sort of get to the 18 months to 2.5 years, when the sort of the real nurturing and the real development of babies becoming their own personality, and mums realize that actually, you know what, this overwhelm of not having given myself the me space or the self-care, which is so important to be able to keep giving. And it's like there's almost like this sort of light bulb, because mums feel like their identity, they're sort of still grabbing at it in the air to pull it back in. And then they're sort of like, it's getting that message that actually, you know, matrescence is as important as adolescence, and it's the same sort of self-development, self-investigation and discovery of self that adolescence is, from when you go from child to woman, but just nobody's telling you. And it's that sort of a when you get to that sort of toddler stage that women suddenly start looking for something. And I think when women become mums, they realize that there's something else other than just that energy of doing and creating, but there's also that sort of inspiration that comes behind it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
So,
Yeah. What about working with you? What does a typical engagement of working with you look like?
if you're doing a one-to-one, it's very, very bespoke, and we look at what your personal sticking point is, because for some mums it is that they feel that shift that they may not necessarily want to go back to the corporate world, but they now want to look on their entrepreneur journey, and there's that guilt of working as well as being a mum. For others it's just that complete overwhelm. So it's finding what your sticking point is and where you feel you've lost you. And I do that by looking at your elemental archetype. So what your archetype is in motherhood. So whether you're a natural nurturer, a natural leader, whether you're a natural creative. And it often comes as a surprise to mums what they are, because they have a really clear vision of what they think they're going to be. And then when they actually look at it, they're like, oh, that's why it's not working. You know, they have a very clear picture of what they want to be as a mum, but when it actually happens, it's not necessarily what works for them, because of that massive shift. So that's the real starting point, looking at your archetype and your strengths, your place in the mum tribe, and then ensuring that you're getting self-care that you need so that you're filling yourself up so you can keep giving and nurturing. And then we look at what energies you're needing, whether that's a boost in your actual energy to have more energy, or whether it's the fact that you're struggling with guilt, overwhelm, or whether you're giving too much, and where that's blocked in the body, and what energy we can utilize through harnessing the crystals. And then we look at how that works to flow it with the moon. So like on the new moon's coming up on Thursday, so that's a great time to set goals and intentions for the next 29 and a half days cycle, so that you can manifest with inspired action behind it, which I know for so many entrepreneurs, this manifestation of goals and is such a big thing, and working it with the moon energy really, really helps. So you've got the crystals, which come from Mother Earth, so to speak, and then you've got the moon energy, which is Mother Moon. So you've got then the joint bringing your feminine energies into play whilst balancing your masculine energies, because we can't lose those masculine energies. We don't want to suddenly go from being stuck in masculine to being stuck in feminine. We need to balance that out so that it's inspired action rather than just action or inspiration, because both is gonna cause. So yeah, and once women understand that cycle that they follow with the moon, they can then also, it's easier for them to pick up when because I'm not saying it gets rid of your struggles, I'm saying it gives you the resilience and the mindset and the ability to go, aha, and to start flowing with the energy of the moon and living your life by it. So different moons have different strengths. So like at different times of the year, you can focus on different areas of your life to make your life just flow easier, rather than just thinking, right, this all has to be done and it all has to be done now. But you can actually sort of plan with intention your years, your months, your quarters, in And it just gives women back that identity and that empowerment that they feel they've lost when they lose womanhood and nobody told them they've shifted into a new phase of life.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what about the moon? What type of energy does the moon have, and how does that affect? Is it just women, or does it affect human beings? Like, what is it?
It affects all. So the full moon. So everybody's heard of lunacy, and the moon's called Luna, and that's where it comes from. It's like the moon does affect. If you speak to first responders, or I don't know if you have the Samaritans in the United States. That's like a charity that helps people like mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And the calls that they get are not only increased, but they've also become a little bit more bizarre. And you'll get it and it's the effect of the moon. So you know how the moon affects the tides, and it can increase the tide level. I know that like certain areas it can increase the monsoons. So we're water, our brains are water, and it affects us in the same way. With women, the actual cycle will fall either on the new moon or on the full moon. It will be around either side of those. It's very rare to be out a cycle of the moon unless you're out of alignment with your energies in a massive way. And it's what people don't realize is that when you're in a place of struggle, if you're looking outside of yourself into something, as we're all connected in it, it gives you the strength or the weakness that is happening at that moment. So like the new moon that's coming up is going to be in Virgo. So that's a really, really good moon for planning and productivity and things like that. And then you've got other moons where they're more about drawing back and reflecting. But the new moon is great for setting the intentions because it waxes up till the full moon, and then the full moon you can shed and release what doesn't serve you as it wanes back down to the new moon. And then in that 29 and a half day period, you can see the manifestations. And as long as you're putting intention, inspired action behind it, because nothing happens if you just sit and do nothing. We all know that you have to take action and take inspired action, but it just gives you that empowerment to keep checking back in, and the energy brings into being and pulls your energy and supports your energy. And when you pair that with a crystal that you've set with the intentions, you've got all the energies. You've got yourself, the earth, the moon. You've got everything pulling together to give you the best chance of bringing your manifestations into being.
Good, interesting stuff. I love it. Love it. Awesome, Nixie. Well, hey, if someone was listening to this right now and they're like, man, what Nixie just shared here is some awesome stuff. I definitely want to learn more and just find out a bit more about what she has going on. What's the best way for someone to be able to reach out and connect?
So the best way to connect with me is through social media. I'm most active on Facebook, and you literally just put Nixie Foster, which is Nixie Foster, and then just put it in, and I should come up. You should find my business page, you should find my personal page, and just connect. And if you just want to send me a DM because you want to know a bit more before you actually connect, or even if you just want to sort of be a bit of a lurker for a while and see if it is for you, connect, because it sounds really, really woo till you do a little bit of it. It sounds a little bit kind of out there, but then when you actually sort of see how I do things, it's not completely out there with the stars and the stardust. It really does. It really boosts your mindset, your mindfulness. if you work with law of attraction, it really helps. It's kind of a parallel. So yeah, it would be great to connect. I'm also on Instagram, and I have a website the same, Nixie Foster. It's just really easy to find me. I've made it as easy as possible. And I'd love to connect. And especially with the high flying mums who are feeling like disconnected with themselves and a bit lost in their identity, because there's so many aha moments.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, good stuff. And guys, if you're watching this interview on the live or the replay, number one, leave us a comment below so we know that you're tuning in. And then the second thing is all the links Nixie just mentioned here to get connected with her, they will either be right above or below this video, so you can click and get connected right to her. So Nixie, hey, thank you so much for making the time to be here with us today and sharing what it is that you do with the community. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
No, thank you for having me. And yeah, I'm just so excited to be able to share something with high flying women. I know I'm very women orientated, but that's because I'm a motherhood mentor. If there are men that want to know a bit about how the moon can help them, they're welcome to get in contact. They might find some of the stuff on my page a little bit like, oh, that's a bit too much, but it's because I connect with women and mothers. So yeah, but thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you.